Hi BC, it's Rob here with another video, and this is a vinyl finds video, stuff I've picked up over the last couple of weeks. In the background you're listening to Parquet Courts, and this album, Wide Awake. Had it for a couple of months now, one of my favourite albums from over the last 12 months. Now, I was off last week and doing some decorating, but on Thursday took some time out, headed for a record shop in a place called Bolton. Excuse me. And I'd never been before. Had a look online and had a massive collection of record store goodies still left, and probably around about 40,000 albums. A little bit daunting. It's on a bit of a budget, but managed to pick some good stuff up, and I picked this album up, Jordan the Comeback by Prefab Sprout. Now, just about an hour ago I was watching a video by a channel, Invisible Ray, bit of a different VC channel, quite amusing, and he did a video about the worst album that he ever bought, and he chose From Langley Park to Memphis by Prefab Sprout, and gave Paddy McAloon a real dressing down on that video. Paddy McAloon sort of saying in a few interviews that he was a better songwriter than Paul McCartney. So yeah, I mean, do I think Paddy McAloon is a better songwriter than Paul McCartney? Well, in my opinion, in the 1980s, then yeah, I think he was a better songwriter than Paul McCartney. Anyway, there's more Paul McCartney later. So let's talk about this album. I can remember when it came out, I was a little bit disappointed with I thought it was a little bit overblown. There's 23 tracks on this album, and I thought it could have been a little bit shorter. I mean, you know, I'm a big fan of Prefab Sprout, starting off from Swoon, Protest Songs. One of my favourite albums of all time is Steve McQueen, From Langley Park to Memphis, Jordan the Comeback, and Andromeda Heights. You know, great albums. I mean, this has got some good tracks on it. Looking for Atlantis, Moondog, Carnival 2000, We Let the Stars Go. But like I say, a little bit of filler on this album, but it's one I've been after. I mean, I got it on CD when it came out, and I was really pleased to pick it up for a tenner, because you don't see it out in the wild very often. So yeah, pleased to pick this up. Jordan the Comeback by Prefab Sprout. Now, I picked this album up by another band from the 1980s who I really liked, the Blow Monkeys, and this album's called Springtime for the World, and this came out in 1989. It's got the inner sleeve, and it's got a nice label on it as well. And this was an absolute flop when it came out. I mean, the Blow Monkeys had quite a lot of success in the mid-80s, Digging Your Scene. It's a big hit in the UK and in America. The album Animal Magic, She Was Only a Grocer's Daughter is an album I've got. Whoops, There Goes the Neighbourhood, a really anti-Margaret Thatcher album. When this came out, it's very dancey, but I always really liked it. I like every single track on this album, but it was such a flop that after this album they split up, and 20 years later they got back together again, and they've released 5 albums since 2010. Dr. Robert Howard the singer has released 10 solo albums, so maybe worth checking out. But please pick this up for £4. The Blow Monkeys and Springtime for the World. Now, I picked this album up, The Boy King by a band called The Wild Beasts. And this is the 5th album by The Wild Beasts, and it came out in 2016. You get a single with it, and you get the lyrics, and you also get a nice label. Now the Wild Beasts were school friends, and they formed in the mid-2000s, but after this album, I mean, they received a lot of critical acclaim but not huge commercial success, and that led to the band splitting up in 2017. Like I say, I've got a couple of CDs by them, and I've also got another vinyl album by them, and I think they're a real sort of a bit of a gem that people, a lot of people maybe not aware of. They remind me a little bit. I mean, the singer's got quite a high-pitched voice, which takes a little bit of getting used to, but when you get into them, you're in for a treat. They're a really good band. They remind me a little bit of earlier Human League, a little bit of Depeche Mode, but you know, you've got to give them a listen, because I really recommend these guys. I mean, they've split up in 2017, and the lead singer, he's called Hayden. I always forget his second name. Oh, it's going to annoy me. Anyway, he's got a solo album coming out next week, which I will be getting because I've been streaming it, and I really like it. So yeah, I'll be searching for that next week. So yeah, but if you're not aware of the Wild Beasts, check them out. That was called The Boy King. Now, I've been waiting for a box set to come, and it came last week, and it's Joe Strummer 001, and this is a 4-disc set. Got it off Amazon. It's under £40, and someone like me who's a big fan of The Clash don't actually own anything by Joe Strummer, so it comes in a nice folder inside, and there's 31 tracks on this box set. So after The Clash, Joe Strummer didn't really have any commercial success at all. Did a soundtrack, a film called The Walker, there's a track from that on here, and he also did a song called Love Kills for the Sid and Nancy soundtrack. All the albums come in these individual sleeves. I mean, Joe Strummer got the name Strummer just because of the way he played the guitar. He was born in Turkey, and he died in 2002, and he was only 50 years old, so, you know, just before Christmas in 2002, it spoiled a lot of people's Christmas that, and yeah, when he died, his widow discovered over 10,000 tracks that have never been released, and there's 11 of those tracks on this 31 track box set. Joe Strummer did a couple of CDs with his band, the Mascaranos, and I really enjoyed those CDs, and there's quite a few tracks by them on this box set, so yeah, really pleased to pick this up. This came out in July 2018, so yeah, really pleased to pick that up. Joe Strummer and 001. Now, on Saturday I went to see my son in Sheffield, and we went to the local record shop, and I was really pleased to pick this album up. Babe Rainbow and Double Rainbow. And the Babe Rainbow, I showed an album by them a couple of weeks ago, an Australian band from Melbourne, and this comes in green vinyl. And I've actually discovered that there's kind of a psych mini festival in Manchester in a couple of weeks, and the Babe Rainbow are performing, so I'm going to be doing my best to. The Temples are playing as well, and Courtney Barnett, so I'm going to do my best to get a ticket for that. It's you know, Babe Rainbow, Australian band. I'm not sure whether they've ever played in the UK before, so really pleased to pick this up. I've said before, I kind of describe these as psychedelic new wave funk disco, and they're on the same label as King Gizzard, and it's just part of that amazing Australian scene at the moment. So I mean, on Amazon this was like 70 quid, so when I saw it for 20 I was all over it. So yeah, Double Rainbow by the Babe Rainbow. Now we're headed to the car boot sale on Sunday, and I picked some stuff up, so here's a small selection. Elton John and Caribou. Richard McCook, one of my favourite channels on the VCs, last weekend he did a ranking of his favourite Elton John albums from about 69 to 89, and he actually had this album at number 3. So I commented on Richard's video and I said that it's on Rocket. Is it on Rocket or no? Is it DJM? Yeah, maybe. I commented on Richard's video and said that I do have a little bit of Elton John, but not a huge amount. I mean, I'm quite in favour of his 70s work, but once we get into the 1980s, I kind of lose a little bit of interest. But I think there's no denying he wrote, you know, I'm a Bernie Taupin and Elton John. The work they produced in the 70s, pretty good stuff. I mean, the film's coming out this weekend, so Elton John's in the news at the moment. So yeah, please pick this up for £2. Caribou by Elton John. Now, on my last video I was talking about established artists and yeah, a little bit of a rant, but there's no one more established than this guy, Paul McCartney and Tug of War, and this album came out in 1982. Paul McCartney was 40 when this album came out, and a lot of love for this album on the VC, so I thought I'd see what all the fuss was about. So it comes with the inner, and this was just in a box for £1, and I thought it's going to be trashed, but it's actually in quite good condition. Parlophone. So Tug of War, the single, I have, and I also have Take It Away on a single, but let's get down to the nitty gritty about the album. What do I think of it? When I first played it I thought I wasn't impressed with it, but I've played it quite a lot now, and yeah, it's growing on me. I quite like it. I mean, a lot of talk about this track Wanderlust. I've heard it described as, you know, a Beatlesque song. I won't go quite that far, but I mean, it reminds me of No More Lonely Nights. So I mean, this was before No More Lonely Nights, but yeah, I found that quite amusing. There's a Stevie Wonder track on here, What's That You Doing, which I really like. And yeah, the more I listen to this album, the more it kind of grows on me. I mean, the only problem for me is it's got Ebony and Ivory on it, which I've never liked. But yeah, I'd probably give it a strong 8 out of 10. So yeah, please pick this up. Paul McCartney and Tug of War. Now, like I say, car boot sales, you never know what you're going to pick up, and it's a look of the draw really. And I've not got any albums on vinyl by this band, but I was pleased to pick one up. Pet Shop Boys and Behaviour, and this came out in 1989, and it's in perfect condition. It's like brand new, and this has got Being Boring on it, which I always really liked, and a track called So Hard. I mean, I do have singles by the Pet Shop Boys, but I never seem to see their albums out in the wild, so for a couple of quid, I was really pleased to pick this up. Behaviour by the Pet Shop Boys. Now, when you're at car boot sales, you know, you've got to try and get there as early as possible, and but you can end up behind people, and people can be looking at records, and you're literally looking over the shoulder thinking, don't pick this, don't pick that up, don't pick that up. Anyway, that happened to me on Sunday. There was a guy flicking through some records, and there was quite a few that I had my eye on, and I was just hoping he wasn't going to pick them up. Anyway, he didn't pick this one up, and it's this one, Babylon and All by Squeeze, and I think this came out in about 87. It's got a single on it, sort of the last hit record called Hourglass, and it's got Jules Holland on this, Glenn Tilbrook. Like really, it's like the original lineup of Squeeze. Now, I've often thought this. I mean, I've got Cool for Cats and I've got East Side Story, and Cool for Cats, Pulling Muscles from Michelle, Slap and Tickle, Up the Junction, Take Me I'm Yours. I think Squeeze have produced, you know, at least 10 fantastic singles, but when it comes to their albums, I think they're a bit hit and miss. I really do, and I'm giving this one a lot of my attention, and it's not really grabbing me so far, but I'm giving it a chance. But I still sort of, I know there's a lot of love for Squeeze on the VC, and there's a lot of love from me because they were like one of the first bands I was into, but none of their albums have ever really grabbed me. But I just picked another one up that I'll show in my next video. But yeah, this is the one I've been playing, and yeah, I'm probably 6.5 out of 10 so far. So yeah, Squeeze and Babylon and all. Now just one more to show, and one of my favourite sort of bands from the 1980s, The Pretenders, and this is singles, just a couple of quid this, and when you get the greatest hits of The Pretenders, you realise how many great singles. My personal favourite is Back on the Chain Gang, Brass in Pocket. I think that was the first #1 in the 1980s in the UK. Talk of the Town, Stop Me Sobbing, Into Her. Apart from I Got You Babe, this is pretty faultless. So yeah, great addition to the collection, The Pretenders and singles. So that's it from me. Like I say, I've got quite a lot of other car boot stuff that I need to add to my next video, and this weekend will be a car boot, so I'm sure I'll pick some more stuff up. So that's it from me. Hope you enjoyed this video. Thanks for subscribing to my channel and watching my output. Really appreciate it. Any comments, thumbs up, really appreciate it. So have a great weekend, and bye for now.